Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Dr. Samson Chukwedo. Today's tutorial is on how to craft a good research title. Once again, how to craft a good research title. I want you to be a little bit patient with today's tutorial because we have to explain some theories before we proceed with practice. So halfway to the tutorial, the practical approach will be discussed or demonstrated, but some theoretical approach will start in the tutorial. So let's jump into the tutorial properly to discuss how to craft a good research title. Commonly, you could find that students or some categories of researchers are faced with the question, what's the question? How do I get a research topic? If you ask yourself this question and you're a beginning researcher, there's tendency for you to just start thinking that, is it just by modifying a previously seen title from a journal? Perhaps you have seen a title from of an article published in a journal. You just feel to modify it and then make it your research title. Is it just by picking up already research title from an institutional based thesis or dissertation? Maybe you feel that going to an institution and pick up already research title could be a way of getting your research title. It could just be by you asking the question, is it just by looking for concepts or constructs that a supervisor or even readers may not be familiar with so that you can scale through a defense? Sometimes these are what beginning researchers or student researchers ask as questions or go into in order to get a title. It could still be, is it because the constructs in mind that you intend to study sound nice to you, even when you know not much about that construct? Sincerely, none of these is a good approach to crafting a good research title. So if we must craft a good research title, if these approaches are not very good enough, where can a good research title be seen? That's an important question that we must answer. Now, where does a good research title or novel research title come from? A good research title is crafted from an existing research problem. Without a problem, you can't craft a good title or a novel title. Please take note that a good research title is crafted from an existing problem. So you must have an existing research problem that will enable you to craft a title. A research problem is sometimes regarded as research topic. This has been discussed in my previous video. So check my video where I discuss the difference between research topic and research title. So if a good research title is crafted from a research problem or an existing problem, what then is a research problem? A research problem is a difficult or unsatisfactory situation or concerns in a field of study that requires research attention. And the essence of this is to provide solution to that area of study for improvement. Let's consider a situation whereby students fail mathematics or students fail mathematics in their secondary school at their secondary school level. That failure in mathematics is an unsatisfactory situation, so it's a research problem. Any topic you craft to solve the problem of this failure or provide solution to the problem of the failure becomes a title, but it must be hinged on that problem, failure in mathematics. Another definition of a research problem is that it is a question that exists in literature, theory, or practice that begs for answers. It's a question that exists in literature, in theory, or in practice that begs for answer. Let's consider a situation like this. You have read different article in literature and found out that they have suggested or theorized that majority of science students, especially those in the medical sector or medical field, fail physics or do not do well in physics as expected. And none of this research was able to provide the reason why this failure comes. So why does this failure come? That becomes a question that exists in literature, and it begs an answer. So that question becomes a research problem. So you can craft a topic that will enable you to address that question. So these are what a research problem are. Having known that a good research title comes from a research problem, we really need to understand the characteristics or the sources, of a research problem. It is better we know where we can get this research problem before we proceed in this tutorial. Now, what are the sources of a research problem? One of the sources of a research problem is personal experience. With your personal experience, either from literature or within your environment, can help you to identify unsatisfactory situations. Your knowledge about theories in your field of study or related fields of study can help you to identify a research problem. Even you can identify a research problem from published research articles in journals. Consider a journal, an article you have read in a journal, that you understand that somehow the article has not addressed, or the title has not addressed, an aspect of the problem. That can help you to find an additional problem in order to add to the existing literature. But you must be able to review enough literature to do this. Or you could go to the section of an article in a journal that is often titled Limitations of the Study. In that limitations of the study, you can find aspects of that study that you can add, you can go into to add to literature. Go to limitations of the study. Most cases, authors tend to say that this is the direction you can go, or this is the direction the author has been able to address. Other directions you can infer or find them there and get a problem. The same applies to published or unpublished institutional-based thesis. You can find suggestions for further study, limitations, or a good detail of the study can tell you if you can fill a gap that exists somewhere. Library sources or library searches are also sources of a research problem. Newspapers, magazines, and other literature can help you to find a good research problem so that you can craft a good or novel research title. All in all, it must be noted that a good research problem helps a researcher very well. One of the importance of a good research problem is if you identified a research problem, it can help you to craft a good title or novel title, and it can equally help you to write a sound statement of the problem. Remember that in most institution-based thesis or dissertation or even projects, there is a section often called statements of the problem. If you do not identify an existing problem, you will run around without having an appropriate solution of what you are writing. So it is important to identify a research problem in order to craft a good and novel research title, as well as to write a good statement of the problem. But remember, this tutorial is on research title. So haven't seen where you can get a research title. How can a research title look like? How can your research title look like so that it can show those things that it's supposed to show? Let's consider characteristics of a good title. The first characteristic listed here is it must be interesting. A good research title or novel research title must be interesting. It must be appealing to the researcher and the readers. The researcher should be able to be motivated about that research. It must be appealing to the readers in the sense that the readers will be interested to go into that study and find out what the study is all about or why the study has found what it found. A good research title must be problem-based. It must be able to solve a problem or provide solution to a problem. A good research title is supported or may be supported or can be supported by one or more theories, or even the title itself can support one or more theories and then support practice in nature. Then a good research title must be researchable. It cannot exist in vacuum. You should be able to collect data to measure the important or relevant constructs. A title that you can't collect data from is not a good research title. So a good research title must be researchable. A good research title, of course, must be concise and specific. It must be concise and specific. It should not be too long, and it should not be ambiguous in order not to understand what the research is all about. Oh, lastly, as listed here, a good research title can be novel. It can be novel. Or a good research title extends existing ideas, research or theories. Research or theories. Now, let's look into how we categorize a research title. Despite the fact that you have seen the characteristics of a research title, if you do not know the appropriate way to structure your title, it may not look interesting. It may not show that you're solving a problem. So attempt is made here to categorize a research title, and it is categorized here into three: descriptive research title, declarative research title, and interrogative research title. Let's begin with descriptive research title. It's a title that describes what the study has done or what the study intends to do. This type of title can also include the method employed by the researcher. But take note, it doesn't indicate or show the results of the study or the main result of the study. From the title, you cannot decipher the result of the title, but you can see what the title has described, or you may equally see the method included. Let's take some examples, about 3 examples. The first one here is the relationship between teachers' teaching competence, students' academic engagement, and academic performance. This title is descriptive in the sense that it tends to describe the relationship between these constructs: competence, teaching competence, students' academic engagement, and students' academic performance. That's a descriptive research title. That's a descriptive research title. Another example we can talk about is the effect of aerobic dance on the body mass indices of obese adolescents. A randomized experiment. Look at this title. It's describing the effect aerobic dance could have on body mass indices of obese adolescents. But the method is included here, which is a randomized experiment. Remember our definition? It describes what the study intends to do, and it can include the method employed by the researcher. This is the method, a randomized experiment. A good research title, or a descriptive research title rather, can be in this form: a meta-analysis of the effect of mentoring on employees' job performance. Let's consider this. This meta-analysis is the method that the researcher intends to apply in order to carry out or get results or provide solution on how mentoring affects job performance. So these are examples of descriptive research title. Now let's look into another research title, which is declarative research title. A declarative research title obviously declares what the research has done or intends to do by even indicating the result of the study. For instance, let's consider this first example. How political instability depresses national gross domestic product, GDP. This title is telling us that political instability depresses GDP. That means it has declared that political instability depresses or reduces or lowers a nation's GDP. Another example we can talk about is students' work integrated learning promotes career decision self-efficacy and employability skills. It has declared that work integrated learning sometimes can be called work-based learning or work placement learning, that it promotes. It has declared, it has shown the direction of the result, that it's what promotes. That means application of this learning model promotes career decision self-efficacy. This is what the researcher found. Like in this, the researcher also found that political instability lowers GDP. But here, the researcher found that political instability enhances or promotes, students' work-based, work integrated learning promotes career decision self-efficacy and employability skill. Another example here is increasing the power factor of transformer limits the performance of digital electronics. This title declares that if you increase power factor of a transformer, it limits the performance of digital electronics. Please take note that some of these titles are not studied, but understand it that these are declarative research title. These are examples of declarative research title. Let's look into the third category of titles, which is interrogative research title. An interrogative research title poses the research in form of question. That is, it poses the research in question form. The research title is presented in question form. Take, for instance, the first one we have here is, does organizational culture mediate the links between talent management and teachers' performance in private secondary schools in Nigeria? It is a question, but it is a title that wants to look at how organizational culture mediates these two variables or two constructs, talent management and teachers' performance. So this is an interrogative research title. Another research title is, how does taxation affect services and performance of telecommunication industry? So the researcher wants to find out how taxation affect the services of these categories of this industry, and as well as their performance. So this is in question form. Then lastly, we present here is relationship between job crafting and job satisfaction. Do work engagement and commitment matter? This is one of my studies in a top rank journal. So these are examples of categorizing research title as interrogative research title. So we have seen so far that research titles can be categorized as declarative, descriptive, and interrogative. And you have also seen that a research title, a good research title, is better crafted from a problem, because without a problem, there will not be a research title. So having seen all this, let's have a practical approach to bringing out a research problem and demonstrating a possible title from it, which is one of the core reasons of this tutorial. Now, let's consider that we have a problem. Let's consider that we have a problem. This is the problem, a research problem, or you call it a research topic. Students' career indecision and employment anxiety. Consider that students' career indecision exists and they have anxiety over being employed, perhaps upon graduation. So a researcher may want to look at it this form. Nevertheless, we have 3 examples to bring here, but we just want to go from simple to complex so that all categories of researchers can benefit from this aspect. A researcher may decide to look at it in this title. Perhaps analyze if the career maturity of those students and the employability skills they possess could be a factor why career indecision exists and employment anxiety. So the title could read Analysis of Students' Career Maturity and Employability Skills. Another title could be Does Career Decision Self-Efficacy Influence Students' Employability Skills? Obviously, this is an interrogative research title. You can change it to Influence of Career Decision Self-Efficacy on Employability Skills, just to make it a descriptive research title. So these are kind of titles that can come from a given problem. Let's consider finally upon this. Remember I said we're moving from simple to complex. It could be a complex title to some, but to some the approach is clear here. Now, university students' career mentorship, career proactive behavior, and employability skills. A non-randomized intervention. A researcher may look at it that if he carries an intervention on about career mentorship, students' career proactive behavior and employability skill may be influenced positively such that indecision will go down and anxiety may be eliminated. So this is the method that needs to be employed in order to do that. So let's look at more problems and titles. Let's consider this problem or title: Narcissism in School Leadership and Students' Outcomes. Narcissism in school leadership and student outcome. A researcher may want to look at it this way, and considering that if a research supervisor has narcissistic behavior, it may affect the student's outcome. So one may find out if emotional intelligence could help in managing such research supervisor's narcissistic behavior. So the title may read, The Role of Students' Emotional Intelligence in Managing Research Supervisor's Narcissistic Behavior. We can equally have a title like this, A Qualitative Exploration of the Effects of Teachers' Narcissistic Behavior on High School Students' Learning Outcome. That is another approach that a researcher may want to solve the problem of narcissism in school leadership as it affects students' outcome. Another one, remember we've been moving from simple to complex, could be simply, does emotional intelligence moderate the effects of narcissistic behavior of supervisors on students' research behavioral outcomes in higher education? So to manage narcissistic behavior, these are possible titles that can come out of that problem. These are possible titles that can come out of that problem. So these are practices we can do for you to handle a research title when you have been able to identify a problem. So before this lesson is concluded, I know much has been done here. So your puzzle, once again, we can't end this lesson without a puzzle. Look into this problem. What is the problem? You are the one to raise your problem yourself. So raise two compelling research problems in your field of study. Raise two compelling research problems in your field of study. And then from the problem, I want you to craft at least two research titles from each problem. Nevertheless, try to, if you craft a descriptive research title, turn it to interrogative and declarative. So convert each title to two other categories of research title. Obviously, we have tried to use a very short time to manage a complex situation, but I believe that you have learned something from this tutorial. I want to see more of your comments. And I will encourage you to subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to my channel now and continue watching. The more you listen to this video, I'm telling you, you will get it clear. You become a don in crafting a good or novel research title if you put it into practice. Oh, I want to say a wonderful thank you for listening to me in this tutorial. Bye-bye, and have a nice time as more videos come your way.